Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hector and Marina reviewing the Walking Dead comic book. This is volume 6.
Yep.
Right? This Sorrowful Life. This is on the Playback. Thank you guys so much for watching and reading along and following along. Marina, shit's getting crazy. We gotta put a warning. We gotta put a trigger warning. We have to put a warning that we're gonna talk about stuff. This was the volume that I was texting you as I was reading, and I was like, I'm like about to black out. And it's a black and white comic book.
Yeah. Oh, it is black and white. Wait, are the other ones color?
I mean, most comic books are color.
Okay.
Is all I'm
but
saying.
all of
The
them have
TV
so
show
far
is
been
color. Yeah.
Color, right?
All of the Walking Dead is in black and white.
Oh, okay.
It's all in black and white. And
they did that one episode in black and white that one time on the TV show?
And they also released the first season, and I think maybe some other ones, like special edition, all in black and white. Those first 6 episodes. In an homage to the comic book, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So the first time you're reading this comic book,
I'm
rereading this part.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this volume overall?
This volume is just a bunch of violence, but it's like good violence, because in the last comic book,
oh my God,
trigger warning, discussion of rape, like Hector left it with me, and I was just like, oh my God, like Michonne just gets like super raped the whole book, and then
by the governor.
This one is reverse rape, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's torture
Michonne,
and mutilation.
Well, they make Michonne fight in the zombie ring or whatever,
and they're telling her,
and he's like, "Don't kill your opponent," and she just immediately slices his head off, which is very funny.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Fuck!" Like, put her back in the garage or whatever, so I can like rape her more. And then she gets loose, I guess, and just super attacks him.
Bites off the governor's ear.
Bites off his ear, which is in the show, right?
Yes, has him to herself. Yeah. And takes her time and tortures him and nails his penis to a board and nails him up and mutilates him and cuts stuff out and literally like puts a spoon in his butt, uses that spoon to dig out his eyeball. It's just like, and it's all justified. I'm not saying like it's
spoon.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like not deserved. Like she cuts off his penis. Like,
oh yeah, she definitely cuts off his dick.
Gnarly, and he's screaming and taped up while she's got him in this room.
But the whole time you're like, cool. Well, I was like, cool. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what you get, you dummy.
Crazy.
And then she cuts off his arm.
Yep.
With the sword.
She ricks him.
Game of Thrones him. Game of Thrones him. Yep.
Digs out his eyeball.
His eyeball with the butt spoon.
Yeah.
And cuts off his ding dong.
It cuts off his ding dong. So, like, meanwhile, the whole time this is happening, some characters from Woodbury, the town that the governor is running, help Rick and Michonne and Glen escape.
Martinez
and the doctor and the other doctor
and his assistant
that he gets bit on the way out.
The doctor dies on the way out.
Right. And there was that horrible moment where a woman comes up. She's like, "Can you come see my son? He's got a fever." He's like, "I'll be right there, or I'll see him tomorrow." And he's still like, "I have to leave." Like, and that was like, that was like, good.
Your kid's gonna die now.
That was a good moment.
Whoever has a fever.
So sad.
So Martinez.
Yeah, has a cool backstory.
Comes with them.
I was a coach.
He was a PE teacher, and then April? No.
I think that's the name of the
little doctor's assistant.
Yes, the younger woman.
She's not a doctor, but she's sort of been training with him.
And she's gonna learn, and it's
not April, is it? God, is it?
We'll find it.
Yeah, but anyway, so she's good, and Martinez is like bad because as soon as Rick leaves, Martinez runs back to Woodbury to tell them where the prison is, so that everybody from Woodbury can come, get the prison or be in the prison. But Rick figures that out and goes to find him, and then just chokes him to death with one hand. Hits him with the RV and chokes him to death with one hand. Even though he technically didn't have to, because
he kind of said, well, first of all, when I reread it, and I'm glad that you're reading it too, when I reread it, I was like, ooh, I'm agreeing with Rick in killing Martinez, because he does know the location of the prison, because he sort of acted as a spy, and he very well could go back to the governor, because the governor, unfortunately, is alive at the end of that torture, because Michonne had to leave because she got sort of caught, people busted in and she had to get out of there. I'm thinking, the governor could come back. This town could come back. And even though Martinez is saying, fuck the governor. I want regular people to come back.
Yeah, he says...
When I was reading it, I kind of missed that part. And I was just like, good, Rick killed him. And it's so intense. And you're reading it and you're like, no, Rick is a murderer.
Well, look, because he runs, he hits Martinez with the RV, and he's like, and now he's on the ground, and he said, Martinez is like, the governor is what he is. He sent me, but I'm not bringing him here.
Right.
The others, women, children, not bad, good people, we'd be getting away from him too. So Martinez is basically trying to save all the normal, regular people from the governor by bringing them to the prison. And Rick is like, I don't give a fuck, and then he chokes him to death with one hand.
Is that literally what Rick says?
No, he says...
It's fine, you trust these people? You're not getting it, Martinez. Don't you know what people are capable of? He's basically saying, even if he goes back, governor's going to get him, interrogate him, where's the location of the prison, and that like Martinez's plan isn't going to play out the way that he's thinking it is, so he's like, I can't risk it, and...
Yeah, he can't risk it, but it's crazy because he's like, don't you know what people are capable of?
As
he murders this guy for like
Martinez no reason. Is really funny. The last thing he says is like, I think I'm starting to get the idea.
Yeah.
He literally says that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And again, you look at the character of Rick Grimes, and what Robert Kirkman's trying to do is show what this zombie world would do to a person, because just a few volumes ago, Rick says, if you kill, you die.
Yeah.
You know, Rick had that rule, and now he's coming back to the prison. He's like, there's a new rule. I didn't care that I just killed this guy.
Well, he talks to his wife, Lori, and he's like, hey, I just killed this guy when I didn't have to.
And she's like,
okay.
She's like, okay, I'm still going to have a baby. You know, and just like, and Rick is definitely, he's absolutely a different character.
Yeah, he gets... You know what I was complaining about before, which is that...
In the comic or the show?
In the comic,
okay.
Because Carl is the one who kills
Correct.
Shane.
And I told you, I was like, fair, that's a good point.
Right. But I was complaining about it because I felt like it wouldn't change Rick's character. But Rick's character has changed already so much more
in different ways than the show where he was in the show at this point.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because in the show, because this doesn't with Martinez doesn't happen in the show.
I don't remember it happening.
I don't remember it happening either.
I remember it happening in the prison season was a little bit boring for me. Like,
yeah.
And it was different because again, this is so uber violent.
Yeah.
The governor is so uber evil.
Yeah.
That Philip, the governor on the show, was a little bit different, like, more handsome, more charming. They played it out differently because it's AMC and they weren't going to have him rape Michonne. They weren't going to have him do that kind of stuff and then the repercussion. But they can do that plus cussing plus violence in the comic. So it's a lot different. And so so now you're thinking Rick is changing in the comic in different ways.
So my complaint is like sort of moot anymore, like not there anymore because he just choked a guy to death with one hand. When he didn't even really have to kill him. And I feel like by this season in the show, Rick is still like, we don't have to kill people, have to kill people. Like, he doesn't get that way until, like, 5 or something, right? Like, season 5 or 6 or something?
Yeah.
5? 4? At least. But this is volume 6.
But it's still, in the show, it's season 3. Like, we're still in the prison, which, to me,
we're still in the prison, which is season 3.
It really does feel like the third saga. The first one was just outside of Atlanta with Shane. The second one in the comic books was the barn, the Herschel's farm. And now the third is the prison.
Right.
And so the last volume, the last couple ones, I think from 3, 4, 5, and now 6.
They're taking a lot longer with the prison.
7 to 8. It's a saga.
Right, because at the end of this, I was like, okay, and now they're finally done with the... nope.
Because he says
like,
they're coming.
Yeah, the last thing he says is like, well, they're coming and we're going to be ready for them. So it's like...
to be continued.
So it's like, okay, we're just going to stay here for a really long time. Has
the comic gotten to the point where it has surpassed the show, or is it still... And then comparatively to the last volume, I didn't like this one as much. It felt like a little bit of slowdown, a little bit of calm before, and interestingly enough, the next volume is called The Calm Before.
Yeah.
So they're still sort of building to what Rick teased at, which is we're going to have to fight the governor and defend ourselves. So I didn't like it as much as Volume 5, which was we meet the governor and it's intense. But how are you liking the story compared to the show? What do you think?
I actually like, this may be it, and for a fucked up reason, but like I think I like this volume better than I like that season when we meet and live with the governor, because in the show I was watching all season long I was like, why are they hanging out with this guy?
Right.
Why are they being so nice to this dude when he's like obviously a dick and like Andrea is like sleeping with him, and it's like she knows that he's being an asshole, and she's still sleeping with him. And there's it never made sense to me the whole season. I was like, why are they being so chill with this dude? Like, why? But this makes way more sense because
he's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah. And they're like, and they get there and it's immediate. And he's like, hey, I'm a piece of shit. And they're like, oh, wait, you're a piece of shit. And then they're like,
we gotta get out of here.
That's it. And then they run away. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we're going to fuck you up real quick. We're going to get out of here. Yeah. Oh, no, you're still alive? Uh-oh, he's a piece of shit. So he's definitely going to come back. And, you know, that's the story.
Yeah.
So
it just made way more sense in the comic than it did in the...
We also got to mention that Glen finds a ring.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he finds
he wants to put a ring on it. He proposes to Meg. He asks Herschel first, and Herschel's like totally chill with Glen now. He's like, oh my God, I love you like a son now. Yeah. We've gone through so much shit.
Yeah.
You could totally marry my daughter.
He takes a ring off a walker.
He's like, wait, don't kill all the ladies. Don't burn the women. Yeah. I gotta look. Here it is, off a body.
Yeah.
And proposes, and she says yes.
Yeah.
Is it sad now knowing that Glen dies?
Well, didn't they sort of get married in the show too?
Right.
Ish.
But what I'm saying is now reading this, I'm rereading this, and I'm rereading the next volume, and I'm spending time with Glen, and I'm just like, I just saw him die. We all know that was a moment from the comic that we will eventually deal with. We know that Negan is from the comic, and I'm just like savoring every second with Glen.
Well, I'm glad reading this that Glen is still alive, but I knew before he died on the show that he died earlier in the comic book than he did in the show or something.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, whatever season it is when they're in that place where they eat people and their hands behind their back over the bucket of whatever.
Yeah.
Like somebody told me that he dies then.
That's incorrect.
Which is incorrect, but
that's
what I thought.
In the comic book, in the same scenario, Negan shows up, bashes his head in, that we've seen in the show. But Glen has had a couple of fake-out deaths in the show. And in the comic book, because, you know, the show is catching up, so it happened years ago.
Yeah.
Because they're on issue number 150 or something.
Yeah.
It happened at issue 100. So, like, it happened a while back, so people that are watching the show that have caught up on the comic are always anticipating that Glen moment.
Yeah.
Well,
then someone just told me the wrong thing, because I was like, oh, he's supposed to die at that part, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, okay.
I can't wait to get to that moment in the comic. I want to catch up so badly. I want to get further than the show. I want to meet new characters.
We can try to read faster.
I mean, than just one a week. We can try it.
We can try. Oh, guys!
Okay, I know. It's so... What else? I think that's pretty much all that happened, is that they escaped the governor, and...
So I'm not saying that the comic book has surpassed the show indefinitely. I'm saying I like this volume
better than
season that
3 of
season.
Totally fair. And I think that, again, the show to this day still does things way better than the comic did or is doing, and vice versa.
Right.
I think that, like you said when we did Knocking Dead, that, like, people should read it because it's a different experience.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I think it enhances it. It's very cool.
And I actually like usually I recommend reading a book before you see the movie.
Right.
But I don't in this case. I think you should. I think it's a very cool experience to watch all of the show and then go back and be like, oh.
Yeah, it's great for me because, like, you know, I get to hear the actors' performances in my head, try to read certain lines. I get to hear the actress who plays Michonne. I get to hear the actor who plays Herschel has a slow southern drawl that I hear every time now I read Herschel. I used to read Herschel quickly, and now I read him, and it's like, you know, he'll say something, and it'll be like, let me hear it. Let me find a Herschel.
He's like barely in this one.
Yeah. Not a
you
great...
picked like the wrong...
Yeah, I did. There's got to be a Herschel moment here somewhere.
He like is barely in it at all.
Hell no. I caught some friendly fire. Thing barely grazed my arm, really. I'm fine. He must have seen the blood and assumed... Like, that's that's how I read. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's a cool little character thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was... Okay, that's volume 6. Coming up next is volume 7. The Calm Before. And I was telling Marina that each one of these little trade paperbacks has a 3-word title for every volume of The Walking Dead. Look at what do you think's going to happen? Give us your predictions.
Baby time.
What do you think's going to happen? Baby time? Laura's going to poop out a baby?
Someone told me that the same thing happens, which is that she does die in the prison. But that could be totally wrong because...
Who's giving you this information?
I don't know. Somebody told me that they were like... when that episode came out, somebody was like, oh, Glen was supposed to die like in the comic book or the end, but I don't remember who it was. So they were wrong.
Not. Yeah. What do you want to have happen in the story now that the survivors are back? Rick is like, the governor's coming. What do you... Give me some predictions. Give me some stuff you'd like to see happen.
I want I mean, like, what I would want is for them to stay in the prison and everybody to come and they just fuck everybody up and they actually keep the prison, because I think it is a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not theory. In theory, it's not an indefinite solution.
Right.
And in the show, I didn't really like Lori by this point.
Okay. How do you like her in the comic?
But actually, weirdly enough, she's more annoying in the comic. But I like her more for whatever fucking reason. Like, she's more justified in the comic. Like, she keeps being like, and in that volume, she's like, Rick keeps fucking leaving all the time. And she's right. He does.
It's great.
So,
it's great. And it's like having an effect on her. It's having an effect on Carl. Like, it's great. And she's, calling it out and stuff. Okay.
In the show, I didn't mind when she died, but I kind of want her to stay alive. But who knows? Who
knows what's going to happen. So, guys, thank you for reading along with us.
Yeah.
I'm going to need 2 things from y'all in the comments, okay? We're talking about Volume 6. Give me your favorite thing about this volume, about this book. Give me your least favorite thing. We want to read that shit. We will be back next week with the next volume.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.